Hello, everyone, and welcome to the November energy call. The Sagittarius invitation is to look up. So the themes for tonight's call include hope and looking up, exploration, and ways to be your own guru. Because Sagittarius is about wisdom. Sagittarius is the seeker of wisdom. So my name is Mary Beth Wollenschlager, and I'm so happy to have you on the call live or to be watching on YouTube. And in the quantum field, we are all connected in this moment of now. So whether you're watching live or the recording, just know and feel that connection, because that's what we are invited to start exploring. And Sagittarius is all about exploring the quantum field. That's the dimension we're headed towards. Well, actually, that's not a correct statement. The quantum field is everywhere, and we are becoming more aware of it, more conscious of it. So tonight I'm going to dive right into our presentation. I'll share a little bit more about Love Your Life in Sync, which are the programs that I offer towards the end of the video. So again, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And because Sagittarius is about journeying, we're going to start tonight with a quote from Rumi. And Rumi is inviting us to a place, to travel to a place out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing. There is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. So I love this idea of going to this field beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right doing. And that's what Sagittarius is about. Sagittarius is about exploring, especially exploring foreign ideas, things that are unfamiliar to us, that will help us to open our minds. So I always like to start my talks with some heart centering. So we're going to start repatterning our thoughts with some HeartMath. And we're going to use the quick coherence technique tonight. So there's a beautiful picture for you to look at. It's rather Sagittarian in nature. I think it's actually on a little bit of ice, but it looks like some frozen leaves. So I invite you now to close your eyes or keep them open, whatever you prefer, but you can gently tap on your heart or hold your hand over your heart and let your breath start to relax you. Tune into the breath. Let it get a little slower and a little deeper, and find a nice, gentle and easy rhythm as you picture your breath actually flowing in and out of the heart. Feel that expansion as your chest rises and falls. And again, find a nice, gentle, easy rhythm as you begin to relax and open your mind to this presentation tonight, to being connected with all the people watching now and in the future, because in the quantum field, there is only the moment of now. And that's an expansive idea right there. I also invite you to think of something that makes you smile. Think of something that lights you up from within inside. Take that thought and turn it into a feeling. Let your body feel that smile or feel that gratitude. And notice how that helps you relax a little bit more. Get settled in your chair, get comfortable. Find that space. Thank you for making time and space for this call tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the connection. And as we just breathe together, let us open up to the idea of exploring, whatever that might mean to you. Maybe it's exploring your own inner workings, or exploring the outside world, or exploring relationships, exploring family dynamics. We're headed into the holiday season, and family dynamics can get brought to the forefront of our awareness. And let's just open up to new possibilities. And so now that we've taken some time to relax a little and get centered in our hearts, I invite you to feel the presence of Mother Earth beneath your feet. Let Mother Earth nurture you and ground you. As we prepare for this discussion tonight, this talk on practical ways to express the Sagittarian energies. So to understand the zodiac sign of Sagittarius, I think it's helpful to compare it to the other 12 signs of the zodiac. And the 12 signs all have things in common and then a slightly different expression. So one of the very basic things that all 12 signs has is polarity. It either has an outward or yang expression of energy or an inward expression. And the 12 signs alternate. It's almost like an inhale and an exhale. Now, at this moment in time that this call is being recorded, which is November 17th, did I introduce myself? I think I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Mary Beth Wollenschlager, so thank you for joining us tonight. I'm not sure if I said that already, but I will talk a little bit more about my program at the end of the call. So inhale and exhale. And the reason I got distracted is because we are currently in the Scorpio energies until Sunday, which is the November 21st. And the Scorpio energy is more of an inward expression. It's the yin expression. And so the signs alternate. One month or one sign, it's inward, and the next month it's outward. So you might know some people born with the sun in the sign of Sagittarius. Now, we all have all 10 planets in our charts in a variety of signs, and not every person born with the sun in Sagittarius is going to just express the Sagittarian energy, because we're all a mix of all the energies, and we all have Sagittarius in our chart. And so when the sun is in Sagittarius, that does highlight those energies for us. So that's what this call is about. It's about understanding what those energies look like, where we can see them, and then how we can be more aware of them, more conscious of them, and how we can lean into the opportunities that they afford us. So, as I said, Scorpio, where we are now, that's more of an inhale or an inward of going in. With Sagittarius, we want to go out. So if you know any people born at this time of the year, they may have personality traits that could be described as larger than life. They're not shy wallflowers, right? They are willing to put themselves out there. They're very gregarious. They're usually very warm and jolly. And in fact, every planet or every sign has a planetary ruler. The planetary ruler of Sagittarius happens to be Jupiter, which is the largest planet in our solar system. So all these things give us clues about the Sagittarian nature. With Jupiter being the largest planet, Sagittarius is about expansion. For the Sagittarian, bigger is better. More is more, and more is better. So the polarity is giving, it's outward. Jupiter is often called the Santa Claus planet. So Jupiter is the sign of good luck and generosity. So Sagittarians can be very giving and expressive outwardly. Now, the other thing we look at is what we call the quality. And every sign has one of three qualities: either a cardinal sign, which is the beginning, a sign that begins something, begins the season, or it's fixed, it's in the middle of the season, or it's mutable or changing, and it's at the end of the season. So with Sagittarius, we are at the end of the fall season. Now, when we have 4 signs that have this quality. The 4 signs, starting at the beginning of the zodiacal year, which would be in Aries. Aries starts spring. So Gemini would be the last season of spring. That's another changing sign, just like Sagittarius. In fact, in the natural zodiac, Gemini would be the 3rd sign, and in the natural zodiac, Sagittarius would be the 9th sign, which makes these 2 signs in a circle. 3 and 9 are opposite each other. Now, again, this is really 2 sides of the same coin. So Gemini and Sagittarius have a lot in common, but they also have differences. So that's what we're trying to understand, is where these differences show up. The other thing to understand about all 12 signs is all 12 signs are associated with a natural element: a fire, earth, air, or water. Now the fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Now, each one of those signs has a different quality. Aries has the quality of starting something that's called cardinal. It initiates. The fire of Aries is more like the spark that you get from lighting a match. It's quick, it ignites, and it's there to start something. The fire associated with Leo could be thought of more as a big bonfire, very showy, and it's big. Now, Sagittarius is also big, but in a different way. The fire of Sagittarius is more like the fire of a candle. So if you think about what we use candles for, candles are used so that we can generally, well, I think there's 2 things that they're generally used for. One, so that we can see in the dark. So if the power goes out, we either reach for our flashlight or a candle. Or we can use candles to create sacred space, right? If we want to have a special time, or maybe a time of meditation, or a special dinner, maybe at our Thanksgiving dinner table, we'll be lighting candles to make it more special. So anything you can do by the firelight can be related to Sagittarius. Now, this person is studying or writing. And another aspect of Sagittarius is both the student and the teacher. And again, that's almost like Gemini and Sag. Gemini is often considered the student and Sag the teacher. But really, because they're so interrelated. Again, two sides of the same coin. Like, what good teacher doesn't learn from their students? And so what student isn't really a teacher for their teacher? So everything can work together. So we pull it apart to understand it. We understand what's different about it, but then we also see where it overlaps and where things come together. So again, the ruling sign of Sagittarius is this very large planet. So the Sagittarian nature does enjoy making, so in astrology, whenever Jupiter is around a planet or in a sign, Jupiter makes that sign or that engagement of what's happening in the world, Jupiter makes it bigger. Okay, let's go on. So let's understand the astrological time of Sagittarius. It'll start this Sunday on November 21st, and it goes until December 21st. Now, the symbols for Sagittarius include the satyr, which is half hoofed beast and half man, and also the arrow. So what does this tell us about Sagittarius? So it tells us that we have, and the key phrase here is, I understand. So Sagittarian is seeking to understand, seeking that wisdom. But being half beast and half man, Sag tells us that we have this animal nature, and then we have the intellect. So it's a blending of the two. So Sagittarius has a lot to do with understanding natural law. Now, natural law, as opposed to political law or man-made law, like speed limits or drinking ages, natural law has to do with the inherent understanding of humans to do what is right. It's across all cultures, there's that intrinsic desire to help someone. That is part of the natural law. So when we blend these two together, and the other sign associated with Sagittarius is the arrow. And you can see here, we have this amazing satyr that I created. My Photoshop skills are I'm just so impressed with myself. I couldn't find the picture I wanted, so I created this one. And this is perhaps a little intense because it looks like the satyr is pointing the arrow right at us. But what is the symbol of the arrow? The arrow is about direction, showing us which way to go, guiding us. So Sagittarius is also, it's about developing that inner guidance. And we do that when we gain wisdom through our experiences by exploring. Then we start to understand, and we understand how the natural laws work. The natural laws are not exactly really learned. They're learned through experience. They're not taught on an intellectual level. But we are we are half intellectual, but we have that natural side to us, that nature side. So Sagittarius is an expansion of our minds, helping us to get more in touch with nature and with ourselves at the same time. And using these ideas, this idea of seeking to understand. And if we break down the word understand, what do I stand for? What do I stand on? What's important to me? And what am I ready to go into it? Am I ready to go towards a new direction? With that arrow, perhaps I'm being guided to a distant place, a place beyond where I currently am. That's what Sagittarius is about. It's like, let's go beyond. So now I'm going to share some very practical ways that we can embrace the Sagittarian energies. And every planet, every sign rules parts of the body. Now the liver, and these all tie together so beautifully. The liver is the largest organ in the body. The skin is the largest organ of the body, but that's on top. So the largest organ in the body is the liver. Now, during the Sagittarian times, that's when we celebrate. We have the big celebrations, right? We have Thanksgiving, and we're going into the holiday season, Christmas and Hanukkah, although technically Hanukkah floats around, but Christmas will be in the next sign of Capricorn, but we have all those holiday parties working up to it. And because Sagittarius is about expansion, it also can be about overdoing it. And if there's a season that we overdo things, the Thanksgiving feast traditionally can be one of overdoing, overeating, overdrinking. So we want to take care of our liver. And one excellent way to take care of the liver is through dandelion greens. And how fascinating that dandelion greens, how they're connected to Sagittarius, because if you think of the seeds of the dandelion, they're prolific, they're expansive, like from one dandelion, look how many dandelions you can get. And those seeds, they're travelers. They travel far and wide. Again, tied to Sagittarius. Sagittarius likes to travel far and wide. Then we look at the actual dandelion leaf. It's shaped like an arrow. So I think that's pretty interesting. And I just love making those types of connections. So when you know what is behind Sagittarius, then you can see where it shows up in your life. Now, just a word of warning. I personally love dandelion greens in the morning in a smoothie. I put lemon, fresh ginger, dandelion greens, a little water, a little ice. But this is an acquired taste. Oh, and fresh ginger. This is an acquired taste. You can sweeten it with like an apple or honey, excuse me. But it's intense, but it's so good. It's so good during this time. But you don't have to do necessarily dandelion greens for your liver, but you might want to think, if you are overindulging, you might want to consider how to take care of the largest organ in your body, because that's the organ that helps detoxify, which is releasing toxins. We accumulate a lot of stuff that we don't need, and the liver is our helper. So be kind to your liver during Sagittarius season, whether it's through bitter greens or some other way of keeping it healthy. Another really simple way to enjoy the Sagittarian energy in your own body is by consciously breathing and expanding your breath, possibly in a way that you hadn't thought of. And I love this photo. I thought, well, this person is traveling up into the air. I don't know if we'll be able to do this with this exercise, but I thought it was a fun picture. That's quite the bubble she's blowing. But the exercise is to consciously breathe, and you can do this. Sometimes it's easier to do it laying down on the floor or on your bed, maybe with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. But placing your hands on your abdomen, what you want to do is on your inhale, you want your breath to, you should feel you put your hands on your abdomen, you should feel the belly rise into the abdomen. Many of us have heard that, know that, but we also want to expand it into all four sides of the trunk of the body. So not just into the abdomen, but into the two sides of the abdomen, and really important, into the back. Now, again, this is going to take a little practice because it's not something we're used to doing, but the more we consciously breathe and expand that breath into all four sides of the body, we're oxygenating our blood, which is so healthy for the body, and we're sending the breath to the pelvic floor muscles, which we don't often send the breath there. And the pelvic floor muscles are really important to keep integrity in the body with all the muscles and all that the body does for us. So this is a really simple but very powerful exercise to help keep you healthy. And it's Sagittarian because it is expansion. And again, when you are taking care of yourself, you're being your own guru, your own guidance. All right, so now we have another thing to think about. If you want to be your own guru, first of all, we want to talk about, what do I mean by guru? And I love this definition, or this concept of being a guru, and that's whatever brings in the light and gets rid of the darkness. So for me, my little kitty, Cricket, we've had an interesting couple of weeks. As you can see, she's wearing the cone, but just spending time with her. So being your own guru, finding that which gets rid of the darkness and brings in the light, and then sitting with that. When you have a guru, or like an Indian guru, like they would sit at the feet of the master or sit at the feet of Jesus and absorb the wisdom, like be in that presence. So it's sitting at the feet of the master. By that, I mean, sit with what you love, sit with what brings you light, sit with gets rid of the darkness. And for me, the last 2 weeks, Cricket and I have been on a journey, a healing journey. And this was so unexpected. She developed a skin condition, which involved me having to clean wounds on her and apply salve. And my cat's a pretty independent kitty, and she has her own mind. And I thought this was going to be extremely challenging and difficult to get her to sit still long enough for me to do that. And instead, the opposite has been true. No one's more surprised than I am at the ease in which we've been accomplishing this. And I'm actually enjoying it. It's amazing. She just sits in my arms and lets me do all this to her. And it's so soothing, both to me and to her. And then, believe it or not, she lets me slip that cone on her. It's it's brought so much light into both of our lives. It's been very healing on multiple levels. So she is healing, and then I am appreciating her more. I'm just appreciating more things, which that's what Love Your Life in Sync is about, is learning how to sync up with different things that help you appreciate and enjoy whatever life throws your way, even if it's a sick kitty with wounds. And I'm like, I didn't think I would be good with wound care. I'm a little squeamish when it comes to blood. And it's been really a special time. It's been quite the journey and a surprise. And another great Sagittarian exercise is just to simply look up at the sky. What is by far the largest thing on our planet, or our view of the planet? It's the sky. And the sky is always changing. When you look up, you're really never going to see the same sky twice. Even if it's a cloudy day, there's different variations and gradations of the gray. So sky gazing is a beautiful way to connect with that which is expansive. And when you look up, you're more hopeful. Your countenance changes. Just think of, if you see someone, if they're looking down or they're looking up, like you just can feel that different vibration. So I invite you during this time of Sagittarius, or whenever you need to add a little hope in your life, to simply look up. And here's where I'm also inviting you to expand your thinking and see if you can connect to that quantum field of possibilities. When I started the call tonight with our HeartMath exercise, with our quick coherence, we connected into that quantum field. And that quantum field is all around us. Again, this is a new way of thinking for many of us. And even if we've heard of this before, it might be an intellectual understanding. Maybe you've read about the quantum field. Maybe you know that whether it's a particle or a wave depends upon you, the observer. Maybe you know intellectually that anything is possible in the quantum field. Maybe you know in the quantum field there is no such thing as time or space. But we're living in this 3D world of Earth. So how can we take that intellectual understanding and turn it into something that takes us beyond what we're currently aware of, beyond what we think is currently possible? And this applies to all levels of our life. So there's a beautiful sky to look at. And the color of sky blue is actually another Sagittarian way to express. That's the color associated with Sagittarius, sky blue. So just wearing sky blue is a nice way to express the Sagittarius energies. So where will the Sagittarius energies take you this month? And here's someone looking up. Maybe Sagittarius loves to travel, and with the pandemic, maybe we aren't comfortable traveling, but there's armchair travel is amazing, whether you're watching a documentary or exploring something online or traveling in your neighborhood. Sagittarius is about travel, and it's about breaking up your familiar routine. It's about doing something different, doing something, quote and unquote, foreign to you. And maybe you can change your outlook. And by changing your outlook, maybe you'd be willing to just listen to somebody else's perspective without judging. It doesn't have to be. Rumi said, I'll meet you in that place beyond right doing and wrongdoing, beyond the place beyond judgment. Very Sagittarian. And sky gaze. Consider the big picture. Another thing about looking up into the sky, it helps us maybe put into a different perspective of whatever it is we're dealing with. We think it helps us maybe focus on the bigger picture, that we're here on this planet, and we have our own lives and our own trials and tribulations, but we are a part of this planet that is evolving and changing. And the evolving and changing, that's us doing it. We're creating it. So I also want to talk about, just very briefly, on Friday, the 19th of November, we will have a full moon lunar eclipse. And eclipses are significant events. They happen usually a couple times a year, and we call it eclipse season because we'll have a lunar eclipse, and then on the new moon, we'll have a solar eclipse, and then we'll have one more again on the full moon. So it takes about 6 weeks. But I just wanted to talk very generally about eclipses. They can get kind of complicated, but they're created by shadows. So that's an interesting thing to think about. And what an eclipse is, it's an alignment of the sun and the moon and the earth. Now, so it's an alignment of patterns. And those three celestial orbs, the sun, the moon, and the earth, they all have different cycles. And astrology is all about cycles. Our life is all about cycles. There's so many different cycles. But when we're talking about eclipses, if we look at these three orbs, the earth, one of the cycles of the earth is a 24-hour cycle, a daily cycle, where it turns every 24 hours. It turns. Now the moon has a monthly cycle. It goes through all 12 signs of the zodiac in 1 month. And the sun goes through all 12 signs of the zodiac in 1 year. So it has an annual cycle. And these patterns, daily, monthly, and annual, they manifest in us physically, mentally, and emotionally. And what's happening during an eclipse is they're in perfect alignment. They're in a row. With the lunar eclipse, it would be sun, earth, moon, because it's a full moon. So the sun and the moon are exactly opposite one another, and earth would be in the middle. So it's earth's shadow. As we can see in this picture, the earth's shadow is casting the shadow on the moon and eclipsing it or hiding it. So when these three things line up, it's got to be significant. Nothing happens in nature that doesn't mean something. So I like to think of it as an opportunity, since it is all these things are lined up in one line. It's an alignment of patterns. This is an opportunity to reset our patterns. So again, tying it back to Sagittarius, what patterns have you accumulated that you're ready to let go of? What patterns might be foreign to you that you're willing to explore? So these are just some things to think about for this upcoming eclipse season, which will start on Friday. It also makes, because it's the first one is the full moon, it makes that full moon more spectacular. Now, sometimes eclipses can be, well, eclipses because they're cyclical, it takes a while to possibly figure out what that eclipse brought to us. But if we're just aware, I'm just inviting you to be aware of the alignment of sun, earth, and moon, and thinking of those things as patterns and as an opportunity to reset those patterns. So, as a little recap, we have our blue sky, we've got the signposts or the arrows, very Sagittarian. Which way should we go? So some of the ways to express the Sagittarius energy: you can study, you can be a student, you can study and be a teacher, you can go on a journey, you can philosophize, you can be hopeful. Sagittarius is always seeking the truth and expanding. And you can connect with your ancestors or your family and discover something new. It's the holiday season, so maybe you can expand your thinking about your relatives and see if you can find something that you weren't aware of about them. Maybe you can find something that you admire or appreciate. All right, so here we're having a conversation between Panda and the owl. Sagittarius is wisdom, so we have this wise old owl. And Panda says to the owl, what's more important, the journey or the destination? Now, Sagittarius is all about the journey, but this wise old owl says, why, it's the company, of course. So I'm so delighted to have you be in your company, and I wanted to share with you a little bit about Love Your Life in Sync. And when we're in sync with our lives, when we're in harmony with our body, mind, and our energy, we're able to find greater ease. It doesn't mean our problems, we aren't going to have any problems, but we're in this place where we can appreciate what's going on in our life, even if it's you have to help your cat and she has to wear a cone. You can find ways to harmonize with that energy. So that's why I created Love Your Life in Sync, to be of service to my fellow humans during this extraordinary time on planet Earth, to help you find a little more ease in your life. So if you enjoyed tonight's session and would like to explore a little bit more about what it might be like to harmonize your body, mind, and energy so that you can live a life that you are loving, I invite you to try the one-on-one foundational session with me, which I'm offering for the first 3 people that get in touch with me this month, a special of $120. This is approximately a 2-hour session, and you can find the details on my website, Love Your Life in Sync. So that's a special that I'm running, and I invite you to possibly explore it. Now, my second special offer is to invite you to view this video on YouTube. It'll be posted. I'll send you a notice when it's posted. It'll be posted shortly. And I invite you to leave a comment, something you learned or found helpful, by Sunday, December the 12th, and you will be entered into a drawing to win a one-on-one session with me for 30 minutes. And I will pull the winner of that during the December call, which will be on December 15th. So thank you to all of you who left comments on the Scorpio Energies video. And now I'm going to pull the winner from last month's call, from last month's video. And the winner is Mike Wickham. So thank you so much, Mike. Mike left a comment, and thank you to all who left comments. And I will connect with you in person, Mike, and we will have a one-on-one 30-minute session. So again, thank you for your attention tonight. And I invite you to connect with me in any one of these ways on my website. There's my phone number, my email. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So thank you very much for being on the call.